Did you ever stop to think about how women manage to leave a man without even looking back? It seems almost cold, almost unbelievable, but it happens every day, and maybe it's already happening to you without you noticing. The truth is, this withdrawal doesn't happen suddenly. It comes in small, almost invisible actions that accumulate to the point where she's already gone long before she actually walks out the door. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Take a deep breath and put yourself in this scene. You believe you're in a stable relationship, but little by little, something changes. She doesn't say anything directly, but her gestures, her glances, and even her silence begin to carry messages that you don't understand at first. And it's in this space of doubt that many men get lost, because they don't see the signs until it's too late. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain for you, revealing the behaviors that show when a woman has already decided to leave you, even if she's still by your side. And here's the most important point. When you learn to identify these signs, you're never caught off guard again. You stop being that man who begs for attention in the end and become the one who notices things beforehand, who understands the dynamic, and who holds the choice in their own hands.
Before we continue, I need to tell you something. This video only reached you because someone liked it and subscribed to our channel. Now it's your turn to do the same. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so this chain of knowledge keeps growing and reaching more people. Also, comment down below which city you're watching from, because I want to know how far this video is traveling. Now, no more delays, let's get to the good stuff.
First step, she spends more time on her phone than with you. At first, it might seem common. After all, we all use our phones for work, to chat, or just to distract ourselves. But when a woman starts spending more time looking at a screen than at you, there's a silent alert there. The phone becomes a kind of refuge, a place where she finds more interest and stimulation than in your presence. And this is a sign of distance that cannot be ignored. This behavior reveals more than it seems. It shows that her energy is no longer directed toward the relationship. Every hurried message response, every laugh at a conversation you don't know who it's with, every extra minute lost on that screen represents minutes less dedicated to the two of you. And little by little, the space that should be for connection between you turns into silence, into emotional absence. Here, what hurts isn't just the phone itself, but what it symbolizes, a change of priority. If you were once the center of her attention, she now chooses to direct that attention elsewhere. It's as if you're by her side, but invisible. This feeling is suffocating because it directly affects the pride and self-esteem of any man who realizes he's being sidelined. And it's at this point that you need to open your eyes. It's not just a modern habit, but an indication that she's seeking outside the relationship what she no longer feels inside it. Identifying this sign early is what can make the difference between a sudden breakup and the chance to regain control of the situation before she decides to leave for good.
If you're tired of watching her play games, ignore you, and do whatever she wants with your feelings, it's time to show who's in charge of the game. It's time to make her chase you and recognize your true value. In the first pinned comment, I've left a step-by-step guide on how to make her pursue you. Plus, you'll level up and become the best version of yourself. Click now.
Second step, she starts dressing up more when she goes out alone. When a woman starts dedicating more time and effort to getting ready only when she isn't with you, this gesture says a lot. It's not about makeup or nice clothes. It's about intention. Before, she would get ready to enjoy moments with you. But now the preparation happens precisely when she's going to places where you won't be present. This detail is a silent message that her attention is no longer focused on the relationship. This behavior brings a strange feeling, as if a parallel life is happening away from your eyes. The observant man notices the change, bolder clothes, different perfumes, a selective vanity that isn't repeated at home. The message is clear. She's seeking approval and recognition outside the relationship, not within it. The emotional impact of this is profound, because, for the man, that inevitable question arises. Who is she dressing up so much for? This doubt doesn't come alone. It brings insecurity, jealousy, and, in many cases, the painful realization that something isn't the same. The seemingly simple act of getting ready carries the symbolism of someone who has already begun to detach. It's at this moment that many ignore the sign and prefer to convince themselves that it's just a phase. But the truth is, if she doesn't show the same dedication when she goes out with you, the distance is already being created. And when that distance grows, it turns into an abyss. The phone might be a refuge, but the mirror, in this case, is the silent accomplice that she's already preparing for a life without you. Third step, she decreases physical contact, such as hugs and caresses. The body speaks before words, and when a woman starts to physically distance herself, it's because something deeper has already changed inside her. The hug that was once spontaneous becomes rare, the kiss turns into a mere automatic gesture, and caresses disappear little by little. This silence of the body is one of the most painful signs, because it reveals that the emotional connection no longer has the same strength. This physical withdrawal doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of an emotional disconnection that has already set in. When a woman stops seeking proximity, it's not just the touch that disappears. It's the intimacy, the complicity, and the warmth that sustained the relationship. She may still be present by your side, but it's as if she's a dimension away. For the man, this absence creates a suffocating void, because it's not just about the lack of contact, but the subliminal message that comes with it. I no longer want to be close to you. It's an invisible blow to self-esteem, leaving the man wondering when he stopped being desired. Ignoring this sign is dangerous. Physical distancing is almost always a prelude to something bigger, the definitive detachment. When she no longer touches you, doesn't seek proximity, and doesn't miss your presence, it's because she has already begun to build the idea of a life where you are no longer apart. And that's exactly where many men realize too late that she had already left months before walking out the door. Fourth step, she sleeps facing the opposite side of the bed. It might seem like a small, almost insignificant detail, but the bed reveals much more about a relationship than one might think. When a woman starts consistently sleeping facing the opposite side, this gesture carries a powerful symbolism. She is putting an invisible wall between you. The space that was once for intimacy and connection turns into a silent distance. This nighttime distancing is more than just a sleeping position. It's a reflection of what's happening emotionally. Her body unconsciously seeks to detach itself, to create a physical barrier that reflects the internal distance. The bed, which was once a scene of complicity and affection, now becomes the stage for a shared loneliness. For the man, this change can be devastating, because the bed is the last place where he expects to feel rejection. It was the space of vulnerability, affection, and coming together after a tiring day. And suddenly, what's left is the coldness of a body turned away, signaling that the bond is unraveling. This is one of those subtle signs that many choose to ignore, believing it's unimportant. But the truth is that the side she turns to at night can say much more than the words that aren't spoken. When the bed loses its proximity, the relationship is already at risk, and it takes courage to see this before it becomes irreversible. Fifth step, she starts saying she's tired to avoid intimacy. The word tired may sound common, but when it's repeated frequently every time you seek intimacy, it's a clear sign that something has changed. It's not just about physical fatigue, but an emotional excuse to avoid closeness. The bed, which should be the place of connection and desire, is now used as a stage for distancing. This kind of behavior hides a painful truth. She no longer feels the same enthusiasm for sharing intimate moments with you. Her body refuses, but what is truly tired is the emotional bond. The "not tonight, I'm exhausted" becomes a routine, and each refusal is another brick placed in the wall that separates the two of you. For the man, this generates frustration and insecurity, because repeated refusal not only diminishes the sexual life, but also directly affects self-esteem. He begins to wonder if he's no longer attractive, if he did something wrong, or if there's someone else. The constant feeling of rejection can corrode even the most confident man. And here's the critical point. When tiredness becomes a constant justification, it's no longer about the body, but about the heart. This withdrawal is one of the clearest signs that emotional and physical intimacy is disappearing, and if nothing is done, this void becomes the final step toward the end of the relationship. Sixth step, she starts going out more with friends and less with you. At first, it might seem natural. She wants to have fun, clear her head, and have moments of leisure. But when this behavior becomes frequent, you need to pay attention. The time that was once divided with you begins to be replaced by constant outings with friends. The priority changes, and silently, you stop being her preferred company. This social distancing is not just a matter of scheduling, but of choice. When she repeatedly chooses to be with other people instead of sharing moments with you, she's showing that she's seeking energy and pleasure outside the relationship. What was once a partnership now turns into absence. The life you share loses space for a parallel life. For the man, this change is felt as rejection, because it's not just about going out with friends, but the substitution of roles. Before, you were the place of comfort. Now, she seeks that refuge in other environments. And every time this happens, the emotional bond wears down a little more, leaving a void that only grows. This is where the danger lies, when she prefers the outside world and you become just a supporting actor. This sign shows that she is already creating a new routine, a life where your presence is not essential. And when the we ceases to exist in daily practice, the path to the end of the relationship has already begun to be paved. 7th step. She starts talking about the future without including you in her plans. When a woman starts projecting the future without mentioning you, it's a warning that cannot be ignored. Before, the plans were joint, trips, commitments, dreams. Now, she talks about projects, goals, and desires as if you were a distant observer, someone who is no longer part of the narrative she is building for her own life. This behavior reveals a deep emotional detachment. She no longer sees herself as we, but as a separate individual, carving out paths that do not include your presence. Every comment about the future is a silent message that you are no longer part of the equation, even if you still share everyday moments. For the man, this sign generates a sense of exclusion and frustration. It's like being present but invisible, listening to plans and dreams in which there is no room for you. The perception that the bond is unraveling makes it clear that the relationship is changing irreversibly, and often this realization comes too late. It's important to understand that the absence in future plans is not a coincidence. It's an indication that she has already started to emotionally detach. And when the we of the past is replaced by a future without you, the relationship enters delicate territory, requiring attention to understand if there is still room for reconnection or if the abandonment has already begun silently. 8th step. She uses phrases like, "I need space," or "I need some time to myself." When a woman starts asking for space or time for herself, many men ignore the real weight of these words. At first, it might seem like a momentary need, but this type of phrase carries a clear message. She is emotionally withdrawing and testing the distance between you. It's not just about being alone. It's about creating a space where you no longer occupy the center of her attention. This behavior is a red flag because it indicates that she is already redefining priorities. The request for space usually doesn't come alone. It's accompanied by less contact, fewer deep conversations, and less interest in intimate moments. Each time she reinforces this need, the bond between you weakens, as if the relationship is being slowly removed from the center of her life. For the man, hearing these words can be painful and confusing. There is a natural instinct to try to fill this void, to insist or explain that you are still there, available. But the space she asks for is not just physical, it's emotional, and trying to invade it can only accelerate the distancing. Understanding this nuance is fundamental to not getting lost in false attempts at immediate reconnection. Recognizing the real meaning of this request is crucial. She is already preparing for a life less connected with you. When a woman talks about space, it's not just a passing break. It's the prelude to a greater withdrawal, a way of testing to what extent the relationship can still exist before she decides, in fact, to go another way. 9th step. She stops asking how your day was. In the beginning, she was genuinely interested in your moments, in the small details of your day. But when that disappears, when she stops asking or getting involved in your experiences, it's a silent sign that emotional interest has already diminished. The connection that was once built with attention and care begins to fall apart. This subtle distancing reveals something profound. She no longer seeks to connect with you on an emotional level. Conversations become automatic, superficial, and the attention that was once dedicated to knowing your world is now directed to other priorities or people. Each unasked question is one less step in the proximity between you. For the man, noticing this change is painful because it affects his sense of importance within the relationship. When someone who once showed interest stops doing so, a feeling of invisibility and loneliness arises even when you're together. It's a silent loss that corrodes intimacy little by little, almost imperceptibly until it's too late. The crucial point is that this change is not just about routine, it's about disconnection. When she stops being interested in your day, it's because her presence is no longer emotionally invested in you. Recognizing this early is essential to understanding the direction of the relationship before the distancing becomes irreversible. 10th step. She shows more irritation over small things. When a woman starts getting easily irritated with details that once went unnoticed, this is a sign that something has changed internally. What seemed tolerable now generates conflicts, looks of disapproval, or dry responses. Each small friction acts as an emotional barrier, pushing you away without her needing to verbalize a greater dissatisfaction. This behavior doesn't come out of nowhere. It's a reflection of a silent wear and tear. Constant irritation indicates that the patience and empathy that once existed are diminishing, leaving space for coldness and disconnection. Small daily gestures, like delays, comments, or everyday habits, become catalysts for tension, signaling that the bond is no longer a priority. For the man, this change is destabilizing. What was once comfort and harmony turns into constant nagging and discomfort. Each of her exaggerated reactions directly affects your self-esteem, making you question if you did something wrong or if the relationship is reaching its end. It's fundamental to realize that this growing irritation is not just about what is happening in the moment. It's about the emotional distance that precedes it. When small things start to generate big reactions, it's because the bond of care and attention is weakening, and the relationship is already silently heading toward a breaking point. 11th step. She prefers to talk to other people instead of you. When she starts seeking conversations with other people, whether by message or in person, and avoids going deep with you, it's a clear sign of distancing. What was once sharing and complicity now shifts to third parties, showing that the emotional bond between you is diminishing. This behavior indicates that she finds more stimulation, attention, or simply comfort outside the relationship. The conversations that should strengthen the connection with you are now filled by others, and this creates a sense of exclusion and emotional distance. Each interaction with others reinforces the idea that you are no longer the priority. For the man, this generates frustration and insecurity. It's hard to realize that the person who once sought your company now chooses to share moments and stories with others. This silent change corrodes intimacy and can leave a feeling of powerlessness in the face of the gradual withdrawal. It's important to understand that this behavior is not just social, it's emotional. When she prefers to connect with others instead of you, it means that the relationship has already lost some of the centrality it had in her life. Recognizing this sign early is crucial to not being caught by surprise when the distancing becomes definitive. 12th step. She starts comparing your relationship with that of other people. When she starts making constant comparisons between you and other couples, it's a sign of silent dissatisfaction. These comparisons, often subtle, reflect her discontent with the current relationship and indicate that she is mentally exploring alternatives, even if she hasn't made any explicit decisions. This behavior reveals that she is looking outside in search of what she believes is missing in the relationship. Every compliment to another couple, every comment about what they have that's different, creates a feeling of inadequacy and increases the emotional distance between you. It's an indication that the connection that once existed is being questioned and devalued. For the man, these comparisons can generate profound insecurity. It's hard not to feel judged or to not notice that her attention is partially shifted to other standards. This type of behavior corrodes self-esteem and increases the feeling that the relationship is on the verge of falling apart. The crucial point is to realize that these comparisons are not innocent. When she constantly compares your relationship with that of others, it means she has already started to emotionally evaluate alternatives and, often unconsciously, is pulling away. Recognizing this sign is essential to understanding the real stage of the relationship before it's too late. 13th step. She no longer asks for your opinion on personal decisions. When a woman stops seeking your opinion on choices she once shared, it's a silent sign that you're being excluded from her life. What was once a demonstration of partnership and trust now becomes an individual decision, showing that the emotional bond is wearing down. This behavior indicates that she no longer values your presence as she did before. By making important decisions without consulting you, she establishes an emotional distance, showing that she no longer needs your involvement or validation. Each unilateral choice creates a sense of isolation within the relationship. For the man, this change is subtle but painful. The feeling of relevance and participation diminishes, and the perception that he is no longer a priority becomes evident. This generates insecurity and a feeling that something essential in the relationship has already been lost. It's important to realize that it's not just about practical decisions, but about emotional intimacy. When she stops asking for your opinion, she's signaling that the space you occupied in the relationship is shrinking, and that the distancing has already begun silently, preparing the ground for a possible abandonment. 14th step. She starts saving money without telling you. When she starts saving money in secret, this behavior goes far beyond simple personal finances. It's a sign that she is preparing for an independence that may not include you. Every value saved without transparency represents a silent barrier being built between you, a way of creating her own security before any definitive decision. This financial distancing reveals emotional planning. Saving money without sharing indicates that she is considering options for the future away from the relationship, even if she hasn't verbalized it yet. It's a gesture that shows autonomy, but also signals that the relationship is no longer a priority. For the man, noticing this change can generate discomfort and distrust. What was once shared in a partnership now becomes a secret, and the feeling of exclusion creates emotional tension. It's a warning that the bond is weakening and that she is preparing to act independently. Recognizing this behavior is fundamental. The money that is no longer shared symbolizes not only personal planning, but also emotional distancing. When she starts saving resources without you knowing, it's because she is already creating a base for a life that, on some level, may no longer include you. 15th step. She avoids physical contact in public. When she starts to physically distance herself from you in public, avoiding holding hands, hugs, or any gesture of affection, it's a clear sign of disconnection. What was once natural and spontaneous now becomes an embarrassment or avoidance, indicating that she no longer wants to demonstrate proximity in front of others. This behavior goes beyond shyness. It reveals a conscious emotional distancing. Avoiding physical contact in public shows that the relationship has lost some of the intimacy and security that once existed. Each gesture of distancing reinforces the invisible wall that is growing between you. For the man, this change is painful and frustrating. Besides the feeling of rejection, there's a concern about how others perceive the relationship, and his self-esteem begins to be shaken. The public discomfort turns into private emotional tension, affecting the connection you still maintain in private. It's fundamental to see this sign as an early warning. Physical distancing in public is an indication that the woman is already emotionally detached, preparing to pull away more definitively, and that each gesture of avoidance reinforces the distance that is silently growing between you. 16th step. She starts getting closer to new and mysterious people. When she starts forming bonds with new people in a discreet or mysterious way, it's a red flag. The curiosity and attention that were once dedicated to you begin to disperse to these new connections, indicating that she is seeking stimulation or companionship outside the relationship. This behavior reveals that the emotional bond between you is weakening. Getting closer to others, especially in a reserved way, shows that she is experimenting with new possibilities and, often, building a network of support or interest that does not include you. It's a silent but strategic withdrawal. For the man, noticing this can be frustrating and painful. The feeling of exclusion grows as she shares less of her own life and forms bonds that you are not a part of. Each new mysterious connection reinforces the idea that her attention and interest are shifting outside the relationship. It's crucial to recognize this sign before it's too late. The closeness to new people is not just social. It indicates that the woman is already emotionally exploring alternatives, preparing to gradually reduce her partner's presence in her own life, even if she hasn't made any explicit decisions. 17th step. She starts locking herself in the bathroom or bedroom more. When she starts isolating herself in places like the bathroom or bedroom, spending more time alone, it's a silent sign of emotional distancing. What was once shared and open now becomes private, creating physical barriers that reflect the distance that's growing between you. This behavior goes beyond the need for privacy. It indicates that she seeks moments of solitude to disconnect from the relationship. Each closed door or extended time alone is an unconscious gesture of separation, showing that she is already building spaces where you are not included. For the man, this can generate frustration and anxiety. The isolation transmits a feeling of exclusion and disinterest, undermining intimacy and making her presence in the relationship seem increasingly superficial. The perception that she constantly seeks to be alone creates an emotional tension that is difficult to ignore. Recognizing this change is fundamental to understanding the real state of the relationship. Isolated time is not just a habit. It's an indication that the woman is already emotionally pulling away, preparing to further reduce the connection between you, often without even realizing that she is silently saying goodbye. 18th step. She says phrases like, "I don't know what I feel anymore." When she starts using phrases like, "I don't know what I feel anymore," it's the most explicit sign that the emotional detachment has largely already happened. These words carry uncertainty and distance, revealing that the feelings that sustain the relationship are slowly fading away. This behavior indicates internal confusion, but it is also a way of preparing you for the future absence. By expressing doubts about her own feelings, she creates a space to emotionally detach without direct confrontation, making the withdrawal silent and gradual. For the man, hearing this is distressing. It's as if the ground is giving way beneath his feet, leaving a void that didn't exist before. Each phrase of uncertainty increases anxiety and fear, signaling that the secure bond you had is quickly unraveling. And then, one day, without warning, she simply leaves. But, in reality, the emotional departure had already occurred months before. Recognizing these signs allows you to understand that the breakup doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of a silent process of withdrawal that began long before the last word was spoken. If this video made a difference for you, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Every video we create here is made with great care, always with the goal of helping you develop and achieve your best version. We want to share practical and direct tips that truly have a positive impact on your life. So, don't waste time and comment the word gratitude and the phrase "in search of my best version" below. With this, the algorithm will take this video to even more men who are looking for growth. Your engagement in the comments is essential for our content to reach those who need these tips most. Additionally, your support with a like and subscription to the channel strengthens our work and gives us the motivation to continue creating valuable content for your journey. The more you interact, the more men will also have access to this type of information, which only helps our mission to transform lives. So, thank you for being with us on this journey. Stay tuned for the next videos, because we're always bringing new things to help you evolve. A big hug, and see you in the next video.